Hello laddies and ladettes, we're back for the Doctor vs Clown battle in the Killer vs Killer series. So we're having the two scream-inducing boys going at it. As the past 5 or something fights so far, we shall focus on their individual stats, strength, agility and lore. Starting with Madman Doctor, he has a movement speed of 4.6 meters per second, is considered tall and has a terror radius of 32 meters. So, the basic build. His power consists of Carter's Spark. What this allows the Doctor to do is send an electric shock through the ground, affecting whoever encounters it, making them go insane after several shocks, also making them scream loudly with each dose. There are 3 tiers to Doctor's ability that he applies to his opponents, those being Tier 1, which does effectively nothing but make harder skill checks appear 33% of the time, which isn't very applicable in this case. Tier 2, which causes the patient to see double of the Doctor and hallucinate. Tier 3 makes a person scream at random intervals and disable their ability to perform certain tasks. It's a very good power for obtaining information on the enemy, as you're able to simply shock in their direction, and if there's a scream, you know they're there. He also has one other small ability that refreshes every 60 seconds, and what this does is allow the Doctor to send a static blast that goes through the majority of the map in front of him, affecting everyone in it. As a normal shock, but is much larger. Overall, I'll be giving Doctor a 7 out of 10 for stats, as he has good base stats and an all-around pretty strong power under his belt. Doctor's strength is quite similar to Trapper, as he has a strong build and naturally has a large body frame with muscle, except I don't believe him to be quite as strong as someone like Trapper, as his areas of field and expertise wouldn't require as much muscular power. So I don't believe he's as strong as Huntress or Trapper, for example, as they've actually worked their way to their build, where as Doctor it seems to become from more natural areas, which means he wouldn't be as strong. For these reasons, I'll be giving Doctor a 9 out of 10 for strength, because he definitely isn't weak and deserves a high rating, but it just isn't that slight step there to being full strength. I'm just going to quickly skim by agility for the Doctor, because other than his fast-paced movement speed, there is literally nothing that eludes the Doctor having faster or slower movement speeds anywhere, so 5 out of 10, not bad, not good. Our final category for Doctor is his lore. The Doctor from a very young age was naturally gifted with an understanding of the human psyche and academically performed very well. So well in fact that he was quickly fast-tracked into higher education before being employed by the CIA to interrogate and extract information out of their enemies. This led the Doctor getting his signature name as the patient he interrogated quickly referred to him as the Doctor, and begged guards not to be placed with Carter. At this point in time, the CIA was unaware of what went on in Doctor's lab and simply took everything said as rumours. It was only when Larry's Memorial Institute went silent for a week that they decided to pop in and check on how things were operating. But that was only when they actually happened to stumble onto what Doctor was actually doing, the work he was up to. They found many prisoners dead or in vegetative states or with all kinds of head trauma. Not only the prisoners were affected though by the Doctor's madness, but they also found the Doctor's mentor, Mr. Stamper, with his head peeled and an array of electrodes and sensors inserted into his still running brain. Holy damn, is that one fucked up backstory and lore. I don't think one human being will ever be able to top how messed up the Doctor's lore is, and they make you think, they might make you think I'm going to give him a 10 out of 10. However, I'll only be giving him an 8 out of 10, as yes, it does establish him as a stone-cold killer, and a maniac, and a person who will do anything to his victims from no remorse, except there's just one tiny flaw. All of his victims, except one, was contained in a prison to Doctor without any of his input. So for this, I don't want to give him any higher than 8, because he never actually caught and captured with his own abilities to get the people he needed for those experiments. That's it for Doctor, however. Now we can move over to Krusty the Clown looking ass. Clown has a movement speed of 4.6 meters per second, is tall, and has a terror radius of 32 meters. So yet again, basic bitch stuff. But the Clown's power is the After-Peace Tonic, which is 2 bottles that he's able to throw that explodes into a pool of gas wherever it lands and can have 2 effects based on the Clown's choosing. It can either create an area of gas that affects the intaker with a hindered effect, which slows them down vastly for 2 seconds, or he can create an area of gas that when inhaled, gives the inhaler a speed boost of 10% for 5 seconds. Clown is given 4 bottles he's able to throw until he then has to reload, which takes 3 seconds to complete. And it also takes Clown 0.25 seconds to throw his bottles at 8.5 meters per second. So he can hold the bottle for 1 second and throw them at 14 meters per second. Overall, Clown's power is quite underwhelming and doesn't perform very well. His bottles virtually achieve the same outcome, as he can either speed himself up or slow his opponent down. However, if he's not careful, his opponent will use the speed gas for themselves if not used correctly, so... Overall, I'll be giving Clown a 4 out of 10 for stats. His strength is likely going to come down to the Leatherface situation, where it's quite obvious he isn't well built in the slightest, and is actually severely unfit and overweight, but because of his large body frame, you can't argue he would be able to perform stronger actions for this very reason. Although, where he differentiates with someone like Leatherface is he pushes the line of becoming too big, so I'm only going to be giving him a 5 out of 10 for strength. Agility, I mean, come on, I don't want to be mean here, but just look at him. He obviously doesn't have any fast tendencies to him, and even has a terrible cough that he carries with him during the chases, which does not allude to well health or high endurance and cardio. In his lore, which I won't go into too much detail in because I won't go in now because I would a bit, it does state that he is he's very strong and good at track, except this is all deteriorated when he started drinking, eating junk food, and taking drugs. I would give him a 1 out of 10 if not for his faster base movement speed, so 2 out of 10. A final category for Clown and our battle between him and Doctor is the Clown's Lore. Clown's Lore is actually quite interesting and portrays him well as a serial killer and showing the lead up to his lifestyle. As a kid, his family was quite unstable, his father being an alcoholic, and barely being around while his mother had to work long and hard. Clown succeeded in athletically oriented areas, but flunked in academical studies. He became transfixed with feathers one day, storing them in an old cigar box under his bed. Wanting more feathers, he obtained some anesthetic from his dentist and rigged a trap to catch a bird. Once he caught one, he was simply going to let it go after the anesthetic had worn off, as he only wanted a feather. But something felt different as he held a limp bird in his hands, his tight grip becoming oh so ever stronger. For each second before the bird was completely limp. He made his way up, killing larger and larger prey before a young man went missing in his hometown. And this is when his dad stumbled upon the cigar box under his clown's bed, discovering a finger. The clown, noticing his father stumble upon this, he quickly fled town and joined the circus, letting himself go in the meantime, intaking a lot of drugs, alcohol, and junk food. To hold off from his urges to kill, because, you know, killing not good. But this wouldn't suffice for long. He would disguise himself so he could get close to his victims before anestheticizing them, looking them up and... Oh my god, I can't speak now, sorry. Before anestheticizing them, locking them up and deciding to himself which finger to take from his victim before disposing the rest of the body as he found it. Valueless. Eventually, he fully became the clown, donning the identity, fully leaving his former self behind and continuing to kill before he became too complacent. And a victim escaped, forcing him to flee from his circus, stopping at random carnivals around the US, luring any brave or foolish enough to fall for his trap. One day, however, he travelled through a veil of mist, which he then called home. Which is when he entered the entity. But damn, I know that was a lot, but I decided that I'd go through and talk about each killer's lore, however long they may be, so sorry Deathslinger, because he didn't get the same treatment. I wouldn't have changed the scoring, however. So, Clown's Lore perfectly depicts the natural serial killer lifestyle Clown was destined to have, showing his family life and the choices he made. And I'll be giving Clown 9 out of 10 for lore because it shows that he's a sadistic psychopath with very little emotion towards his victims. He also captures his victims for himself, which I like, and he's appeared to have killed many people, which is why I like to see in Dead by Daylight lore. So, 9 out of 10, easy decision. Now that we've looked at every killer individually, we can tally up our scores and determine our winner for today's fight between Doctor and Clown. Doctor coming to a total score of 29 out of 40 and Clown 20 out of 40, sorry. Obviously, Doctor wins. However, I will say Clown did exceptionally better than I thought he was going to. So I was a little surprised. That's it for today's fight, however. Doctor will be moving on to the next round, meaning Pig and Legion will be battling out in the next video. Hope you enjoyed, and bye bye.